The court ruling in the C case, the girl's father says he wants to appeal. Patrick Duchy Holland sentenced to 20 years in Portlaoise for drug dealing. An accountancy firm in dispute with the Institute over professional misconduct inquiry. And Whitegate admits a recent oil spill was 10 times the original estimate. Good evening. The High Court ruled today that the 13-year-old rape victim at the centre of the latest abortion controversy could leave the country to have her pregnancy terminated. Mr Justice Hugh Geoghegan rejected an appeal by the girl's parents against a children's court ruling allowing her to travel abroad for an abortion. It's understood that the Attorney-General won't be appealing today's judgment, but the girl's father has told RTE he's now trying to raise money to fund an appeal to the Supreme Court.
In his judgment, Mr Justice Geoghegan said there was a well-founded view that the behaviour of the girl's parents after the rape did not correspond to the kind of behaviour one would expect of parents in such appalling circumstances. He said the girl is now with a loving and caring foster mother who would support a decision either to keep the baby or to have an abortion. Mr Justice Geoghegan said at all times the girl has wanted to have an abortion because she cannot relate to the baby inside her and never will accept that the baby is really hers. The judge said it was clear from the district court's evidence that the girl's mother was absolutely opposed to an abortion, but that the girl's father would accept a termination if otherwise the girl would take her own life. Rejecting the parents' appeal, the judge said he was satisfied on the facts of this case that termination of pregnancy does come within the expression medical treatment. He said the Child Care Act of 1991 was a perfectly appropriate umbrella under which questions raised in the case could be determined. He said the relevant provisions of the 1991 Child Care Act were constitutional and that as a matter of probability there was a real and substantial risk to the life of C. The judge said the 1992 Travel Amendment to the Constitution does not now confer a right to abortion outside of Ireland. It merely prevents injunctions against travelling for abortions. And finally, the judge said the parents' appeal would have succeeded if the Children's Court authorised a foreign abortion not in conformity with the Irish Constitution. Winding up his ruling, the judge said it seemed likely his judgment would be appealed. A short time later, Youth Defence, the anti-abortion group, which has been funding the parents' action here for the past week, said the parents would not be appealing. But in the past hour, the father of the 13-year-old girl told me he was trying to raise funds to go ahead with an appeal to the Supreme Court. Joe Little, RTE News, the High Court.
After the judgment, Youth Defence said there was now a political agenda to have the pregnancy terminated and introduce legal abortion here. But the Irish Family Planning Association said the judgment would be greeted with great relief by many people throughout Ireland.
Today's High Court decision to reject the appeal by the parents of the 13-year-old rape victim has been condemned by the pro-life organisation Youth Defence.
It's a very, very sad day for Ireland. 13-year-old girl has been ripped from the arms of her parents, put at the mercy of a state agency, the Eastern Health Board, which are clearly now going to organise for the murder of her child.
Delivering his judgment, Mr Justice Geoghegan said the girl has always wanted an abortion. He said the parents had supported her for some time. He went on to say the parents had changed their minds after outside influences had become involved.
I welcome the fact that Mr Justice Geoghegan has upheld the decision of the Children's Court and effectively has protected the rights of this young girl. But moreover, I would welcome his comments about outside interference in the case, which clearly has been a matter of great public concern in the last week or so.
A leading family law expert said he didn't think there were any winners or losers in a case where a teenage victim of rape has to have her future determined by a litany of court cases.
I think the vast majority of people in this country would prefer that these sad, tragic cases didn't involve the necessity for court judgments.
This evening, the Taoiseach said everybody sympathised with the 13-year-old rape victim, but he said the government would not be rushed into a decision on changing the legislative or constitutional position on abortion.
We're preparing a green paper, which we're starting to do. It's almost 1998. The one thing that any of us that have been around for any length of time realise, to rush constitutional and legislative sensitive issues is a bad idea. So it will be 1999 before this issue is concluded.
The Democratic Left Health spokeswoman Liz McManus welcomed the court's decision. She said the need for legislation to give effect to the right to travel should now be examined. Anthony Murnane, RTE News.
On the news.